I'm a very stable genius.
Well, Republicans are really losing their cool over Donald Trump's latest post, tweet, outburst, rant, whatever it is that you want to call it, because they're worried that their stable genius is losing his mind. Or, as you're about to see, some prominent Republicans are saying out loud that he's losing his marbles, that he's losing control. Ultimately, they're all worried that the guy that they've pinned their hopes and dreams on, Donald, you'll get tired of winning Trump, well, they're all worried that he is in fact about to lose it all. As he continues to slip in the polls, conservatives, political strategists, former supporters, they're all reading the most recent unhinged post by GOP nominee, former president, current convicted felon, and all-around great guy, Donald J. Trump, deeply concerned that he may be having a very public nervous breakdown. Now, coming up in a minute, we have a bunch of Republican quotes to share about the mental stability of the aforementioned stable genius. Why, just this morning on MSNBC, conservative strategist Charlie Sykes summed up the GOP mood and Republican concerns this way.
It looks like winners. And I will say, as a Republican, and you were a former Republican, I was a former Republican, I'm not used to Democrats looking like winners. They're usually in a crouched position. They're usually scared of their own shadow, the exception being Barack Obama. But again, the visuals yesterday were striking, and compare that with Donald Trump's lonely rants on Truth Social. That is a striking contrast, is it not, for suburban swing voters?
It is a striking contrast, and it's also important context. I want to go back to something that Mike Barnacle said. You know, you look at Tim Walz, and he's not a scary guy. You know, I was thinking about what it was about him that was sort of, hitting me. And it was like, I know this guy. A lot of people, in a place like Wisconsin, know that guy. They had that guy as their coach. They know that guy from down the street. He talks like them. And I think that's going to be very, very powerful. You may disagree with him on policy, but he's going to explain it in terms that you understand. But I'm so glad that you brought up this post by Donald Trump, this gibbering nonsense. I mean, can we just say it? This man is not well. So while we're talking about, the policies of the Democratic ticket, take a deep breath and recognize that the former president of the United States is having this cognitive mental breakdown in real time. In plain view. I mean, what is that paranoid maundering that he's going on about? And this new nickname, which is not a typo, the Kamabla. I mean, I'm sorry, Joe and Mika, what the hell is that? What does he think he's doing? I mean, this is a guy who, once was kind of like the master, right? I never bought it, but, would come up with nicknames. He doesn't have that touch anymore, right? It feels like the old guy is just, reaching back, throwing spaghetti and ketchup against the wall. But I'm guessing that most people are looking at that tweet and going, are they going to get this guy help? Is there something going on with him? Because this certainly does not sound like somebody who is doing well or is feeling confident. So whatever concerns you might have about the Democratic ticket, this is important to sort of take a deep breath and say, meanwhile, over here, the former president of the United States is losing his freaking mind.
So here's Trump's post in question. As you'll see, it could go down in the annals of self-inflicted foot-shooting political impulses as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And coming up, we'll read some reactions around the GOP horn about this bit of whimsy from Donald J. Trump. What are the chances that crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the U.S., whose presidency was, capital U, unconstitutionally, caps, stolen from him by Kamabala, Barack Hussein Obama, crazy Nancy Pelosi, shifty Adam Schiff, crying Chuck Schumer, and the others on the lunatic left, crashes the Democrat National Convention and tries to take back the nomination, beginning with challenging me to another debate. He feels that he made a historically tragic mistake by handing over the U.S. presidency, a coup, to the people in the world he most hates, and he wants it back now. Well, okay, Grandpa. Well, this bit of political prose has caused numerous Republicans, many of who have been silent during his most heinous behavior, to finally speak out. Here's some examples. This is what you would call a public nervous breakdown. Matthew Bartlett, a Republican strategist and former Trump State Department appointee, told Politico, "This is a guy who cut through the Republican primary like a knife through butter. This is a guy who pummeled a semi-conscious president in a debate and literally out of the race. And now this is a guy who cannot come to grips with a competitive presidential race that would require discipline and effective messaging." Bartlett continued, "And we're seeing a candidate and a campaign absolutely melt down." It gets better. The chair of the Vermont Republican Party, Paul Dame, well, he predicted that Trump allies will start to wane in their defense of the former president. "I think we're starting to see the old Trump that a lot of Republicans got tired of in 2020, got tired of defending him." Dame told USA Today, "If the next 3 months is defined by more examples like this, I think he's going to see some of that soft centrist support deteriorate." And from former Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who signed on to the initiative Republicans for Harris, "This is a man who is incapable of controlling his emotions. Against all advice, against all sanity, he's attacking the Republican governor of Georgia. Donald Trump is losing his marbles." And earlier, GOP political consultant Mike Madrid echoed this sentiment on X, writing, "Trump fatigue is real. America is ready to move on." And lastly, George Conway, the attorney who once worked for Republicans and former husband of ex-Trump as spokesperson Kellyanne Conway, tweeted a question to Trump's campaign staff and his children: "Are you guys going to get this guy the help he so obviously needs, or are you all just there to cash his checks?" Ouch. Well, as the rats look for higher ground and jump ship off the SS Trump, not powered by an electric battery, by the way, something will dawn on them soon. While Trump may fade into obscurity as the wingnut president that we laughed about until it wasn't funny anymore, you folks who stood by and grinned because you thought he would deliver the America that Newt Gingrich and Paul Wolfowitz and people like that promised you, well, you're left holding the bag, guys. And the monogram on that bag, kind of like Trump's recent post, read it and weep.